Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, RoadRunner.com. With your morning horn is your sip of chocolate coffee. It is the middle of August 2023. What I would call this time is the calm before the storm. I think starting next week is really going to start kicking into high gear, maybe even starting in a couple hours, because today is Wednesday, so the cutoff was yesterday for the commitment of traders. The price of silver hasn't made a move either way, but we have a Fed minutes release today at, I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern time, which they always look for some kind of an announcement to shove the price of silver up or down. My guess it would be a quick dive and then a shot up. But that's just a guess, because I think they've squeezed pretty much all of the blood out of the turnip. Blood out of the turnip? Yeah. From the shorts covering and the tech traders going short further and all that. So we will see, though. We'll definitely see I think we'll see some kind of action today and they'll say it's because of the meeting. Mind you, very big day in the Fed world is September 19th and 20th. That's the Fed meeting right before the JP Morgan release from deferred prosecution agreement and the rigging of silver, gold, and treasuries. I think that is an important day for the world. And will JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon be allowed to continue rigging those markets? Now, they are already through other counterparties, but I think that's a big day, especially in silver. Definitely JP Morgan's the number one silver rigger. Yes, still. Obviously, the Department of Justice, the SEC, and the CFTC are in on the con. The U.S. Mint is in on the con. And they are facilitating it. Now, does the U.S. want this system to go forward? We are clearly losing the fiat game. China is expected to just dump a hell of a lot of money on all their citizens any day now. Like a Bernanke helicopter drop of money right into the hands of their citizens. Like $500 billion worth of yuan going right to the citizen. We should hear that announcement any day, maybe, which is crazy. But they know that that's the game. We're in the end game of fiat money. You print as much as you can, as fast as you can. Just like the Fed is doing, especially behind the scenes, but even in front of the scenes, in front of the whole stage, so the whole world can see. So we'll see what happens on September 19th and 20th. I don't think it'll be nice and calm by then. We're at the calm before the storm. Silver is at just hovering right here below the moving averages so that the banks can cover all their shorts, or as many as they can. And they have been, and that's clear in the commitment of traders data. We're going to see this thing jump up or down today. It's hard to tell, truthfully. I don't know. Over here, it took a couple weeks to pull that, the final end game. They always end it with a slam and then a jump. So we might see another slam and then a jump. This is why you have to have your physical silver in your own possession. You can't have it out there. One of the many reasons you can't have leverage, you can't do anything. You should be just sitting on the sidelines, stacking up your stacks of silver and waiting for the end game, which is the end of the COMEX, by the way. There will be a lot of force majeures on the COMEX. Our friend Jeffrey Christian gave us that heads up, and I think it's coming sooner rather than later, definitely in 2023. But we will find out. We've been there before, right? 2008, on September 11th. The system had literally hours left before everything you would have lost your 401k, all stocks, bonds, everything would have been destroyed. And that's because the derivative market is $2.5 quadrillion. And that's a lot of money. Yeah. Although, I don't think the U.S. dollar will go away, not at all. I think the U.S. government will issue an additional currency, gold and silver currency, for the people. Let the dollar do whatever the dollar has to do. Um, I don't think if the banks go, I don't think there will be any dollars available. So if the derivative bubble goes, you're probably looking at a complete wipeout. And that's what everybody has their eyes on is when's it going to happen, Bix? When's it going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. I know it's going to happen. I don't know when. But I have an inkling that there's going to be a lot of silver action just because all the big banks are getting out of their silver short and they're slamming the price and they're being allowed to slam. The CFTC is involved. The SEC is involved. The U.S. Treasury is involved. China knows everything that the U.S. is doing. Russia knows everything that the U.S. is doing. There's no more secrets. When there's no more secrets, the con has to end, and that's where we are. Again, the U.S. is losing the fiat game. We are massively losing not only control of it, but the end result of it. We've benefited so much from unbacked fiat money. It is astounding. We've built roads and bridges in our military, and we've built so many houses in the United States of America. None of that could have been done without the rigging of the markets. And that was the whole idea. Use as much as you can, as fast as you can, and then when it stops being beneficial to the United States, crash the system, and then we win because we're the largest debtor nation in the world by far. So we're at that point, the end game. But this week is kind of boring. Everybody's like, well, there's nothing really happening. If you look at, what's in the markets, where's the excitement? I said, it's coming. End of August, all of September, October, all the way to the end of the year. I don't know when it'll stop. I would guess it would stop when the banks start failing and the FDIC, who has promised to bail out people, even in the FDIC insurance. Now, a lot of people saying that the Fed's going to bail out the non-insured. I'm not so sure about that. They might bail them out in fiat money, but I think what's going to come into play is how's the United States going to allocate the gold and silver coinage, the new money of the country. And I think it'll just be domestic in the beginning. And that's what the Road to Ruta documents from the Fed said. It'll just be domestic. You won't be able to use your gold and silver money coinage overseas, because trade will stop also. China's inching towards that as well. What would happen if China cut us off? Oh my God. Everybody says, oh, that'll be destruction. We won't have any goods. I go, no, we'll build our own goods. We'll have a hell of a lot of people out of work. I mean, imagine everybody in the banking sector will be looking for a job. That's a massive sector. And then insurance and legal and everything's going to change. Everything's going to change. That's why you just got to be sitting on the sidelines with your gold. There's not much gold. I mean, swap all your gold for silver. If you haven't done that, you're kind of not really knowing what's going on. I am talking to Andy Schechtman today about the gold-silver ratio. Right now it's at 84, 85 to 1. I believe the true ratio is 1.618 to 1. So 1.618 ounces of silver will equal 1 ounce of gold. It's closer to 1 to 1. It could overshoot that, go 1 to 10, where 10 ounces of gold will buy 1 ounce of silver. All I know is right now that silver has been price suppressed for 170 years. Held down for 100. Imagine the beach ball effect. You let the beach ball go and boom. Cliff Hines sees the dollar days coming up, the $5 days, and $600 silver will be kind of the first stop. And then everybody goes, oh my God, sell. And then all of a sudden it races past that. Because it's the dollar that would be failing at that point. Not failing, but being printed like nobody's business. And you could call that a failure. If you live in like Zimbabwe and you have to buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of bills, that's pretty much the default. And it's not wheelbarrows full of bills these days. It's all electronic. So lots going on. Like I said, the calm before the storm. Just hang in there. Again, silver price is, what are they doing today? I think, watch for the 1 o'clock time frame in about, what time is it now? Okay, it's 8 in the morning Pacific, 3 hours. I think we'll see volatility. I think they're waiting for this point to go. Either slam it down and then let it rise, or let it rise and then slam it down. Lots of volatility. We kind of got some volatility early this morning. but I'm not exactly sure which way it's going to go because it's a click of a mouse. They can set the price anywhere. We're waiting for the comics to shut down, and then we can potentially have a free market for silver. Nobody knows where a silver exchange would be because there is no other exchange on the planet other than the derivatives exchange, the comics, the criminals over there. Everything will change, my friends. It's going to get very crazy. Again, the Fed meeting, the Fed minutes get released today, and then the big one is the Fed meeting in September where all chaos breaks out. That's my take, 19th and 20th of September. And then the 25th is when the J.P. Morgan deferred prosecution agreement gets removed, unless it can get extended for 6 months. And usually they kick the can down. My bet is it gets extended. I'm not so sure they're ready to take down J.P. Morgan, but at some point they can, and on RICO charges. And Jamie Dimon, keep an eye on Jamie Dimon when he steps down because he was knee-deep in Jeffrey Epstein stuff. So was most of the board of J.P. Morgan. Crazy, huh? Let's get back to what the FDIC is looking at. One of the ways to allocate money in the United States when we need a new money system, say the bank shut down, is through the FDIC insurance that you had, and everybody and their mothers looking at that and saying, "Oh my God, I have uninsured money at a bank." And Janet Yellen has said we are not going to cover uninsured investors. The reality is they have in every case so far. So can they stop is the question. On a massive scale, yeah, they could stop because the FDIC doesn't have, obviously, the money to cover that. They have, I think they're around coming in on near 110 billion or something like that, insuring 8, 9, 10 trillion. So if you have a bunch of banks going down, they're making all kinds of moves over at the FDIC, by the way. And the latest is agency's finalized policy statement on commercial real estate loan accommodations. If you've been looking at the news at all, in the past year, commercial real estate has just been destroyed. It will never come back. They will repurpose all those buildings through a restructure, repurposing them like housing, and businesses aren't moving back to the cities. Those buildings are done. You can repurpose this with like homeless shelters. That's how sad the United States has become, especially the Democratic cities. San Francisco, New York, Seattle, Chicago, destroyed, absolutely destroyed. You can blame all the Democrats and all the deep state Republicans and the deep state Democrats and the plan to destroy America. And everybody who fell for the wokeism, you reap what you sow type of thing. Go woke, get broke has really increased. That saying has increased in popularity because it's so obvious now. It should have been obvious at the time. But yeah, that's where we're headed. Okay, back to I think keep an eye on the 10-year Treasury. As you can tell, remember March of this year, we had all the chaos in the banking system with a couple of banks failing. It was because of the Treasury rates and the unrealized losses. And that was, let's see, so they went off it would have been the December for first quarter because this is reported every quarter. So the first quarter, we're at 3.7, at the beginning of the first quarter, 3.7 percent yield on the 10-year Treasury. Now we're at the end of July. It was where's July? Beginning of July, end of June. It was 4. So the problems in the banks have gotten much worse, and that should be announced. I think it's the end of this month, maybe the beginning of next month. The FDIC sends out their quarterly report, and the thing we will be looking at is this: unrealized gains and losses. As you can see, at the end of 2023, $600 billion in unrealized losses. And then it went down because the Treasury yield went down in the first quarter. Now it's back up above what it was before. I do expect maybe $700 billion, even after all those banks got bailed out. $700, $800 billion in losses. unrealized, and that'll just get worse. Now, because of this policy with real estate, the FDIC is saying we need to know everything. So banks are going to have to reveal what their real estate losses are, and so this number right here is going to increase massively. It could be over $1 trillion in losses that the banks are sitting on, even after the Fed has bailed out so many of them. I think they have 100 and something billion on loan to the banks right now. It's crazy. It's just a crazy world. So keep an eye on that. And the number of problem banks, you saw the small uptick. We're going to see a much bigger uptick. Back in 2010, 2010, there was 850 problem banks, and they got out of it. Obviously printing a hell of a lot of money to do it, but we're just seeing the uptick now. I think we're going to get well above that number, if not all of them, by the end of the year. So keep an eye on that. Also, Wall Street Journal coming out with an article. Is it time to worry about consumer debt? I would say, is it past time? What's going on? Here's 7 charts that show you that, as we all know, the banks are weak right now. Even the media is admitting the banks are weak right now. Now's the worst time for anything bad to happen. And everything bad is happening. Consumer debt is skyrocketing at $1.03 trillion at the end of the third quarter. You can see this rise right here. This in 2005 has just gone ballistic. Another one is median household savings and checking balances by income index in 2019 for average at 100 for a fixed group of households. Everything is diving it to its lowest point, all the way back to pre-pandemic stuff. And then percentage of U.S. consumer balances moving from 30 days plus delinquent. You can see in the last 2 years, it's just been jumping and jumping. Car loans, credit card loans, mortgages. Now, student loans have not. And why is that? Because they still don't have to pay. I think it's October that they have to start paying on student loans. Student loans is the largest asset of the United States of America. The largest piece of debt they own. And they're paying it back to the government, which is like, talk about people wanting to walk away. The leftist students, I shouldn't have to pay for this. It's capitalism. I hate capitalism. So they won't be paying. So that money won't be coming in. And then number of consumers with new foreclosures has just started to rise again. U.S. student loan balances changed from the previous quarter. Look at that dive. Minus $35 billion. Average monthly U.S. homeowner principal and interest payments. Obviously, these are starting to, as people see their adjustable rates roll over to these massive rates, they're just going to run away from their houses. And they're going to just stop paying, truthfully. At the end of the day, everybody's going to stop paying. No taxes, no nothing, because the banks are going to go down. And then percentage of U.S. consumer balances moving from current to 30 days plus is a big uptick here. Went from right here, 2.04% to now 4%. So it's doubled. So nothing good. You can't find anything good anywhere as far as the banking system. And all it takes is one little shock. And we almost saw it in March. It's kind of like the Bear thing when Bear Stearns went down in the March time frame of 2008. And then it wasn't until September 11th, as a matter of fact, that the entire banking system went down or was going down. And as far as the deep state taking down Trump, I don't think any of this is real, by the way, but this is just shocking. So they lay all these charges on Trump and everybody, and they assign a 35-year-old judge who has only been a judge for 6 months is assigned to the case. Is this welcome to a third world country? This is just ridiculous, shocking. I think it's just part of the show, truthfully. I don't think what's going on behind the scenes. Although it scares me what happened in Lahaina in Maui. And there's so much proof now that it wasn't natural. The latest is, why is there a frenzy to buy up all the properties that were just burned down? It's clear that the deep state wanted this area, and so they decided to clear it out for themselves. And now they're buying up the properties, or trying to. This was like the capital of the Hawaiian Islands before the white man showed up and screwed everything up. Just another reason for the local Hawaiians to hate anyone from the mainland. They probably should these days, especially people like Oprah. she needs to go. She needs to go badly, and she's probably part of this as well. But we'll find out. I did hear that they were blocking the exit for cars to get off of Front Street. Front Street is the one right by the water. And all the cars trying to get out, and a police officer was there blocking the exits, and he was on orders to block. And then everybody, basically, cars all backed up. Nobody had an escape route, and then they ended up dying. Yes, that's how big this is, and it just infuriates me. But that's where we are, and hopefully we'll get past this crazy time in our lives, and maybe one day be on a normal footing, and it won't be maybe 10 years. How long will it take for a change like this to really kick in? I don't know. All I know is get your assets in your own possession. I keep screaming at you guys, get your assets in your own possession. I think it's a great time to buy Silver Eagles. You can contact Will Lair at Perpetual Assets. They got them under $30, at least for right now. Andy Scheckman, I don't know what his pricing is right now. I'll talk to him about that later today. But give him a call and see what you can get Silver Eagles at. I do like Eagles because I do think they will be the official currency of the United States of America. Any U.S. coinage, not the metals. That's a different thing. They say that they sell these medallions at the U.S. Mint too. It doesn't say $1 on your silver coin, then it's not part of the monetary system. And I do think they have a way to scan it, as David Ryder, the ex-head of the Mint, was with Honeywell, and that's what he was in charge of. There's a technology you can take a coin and scan it for the crystalline structure and then record that structure on a blockchain. Now, if you do that, you're violating the Reggie Middleton patent again. But we'll see how that all works out. Cliff's data says the U.S. government comes begging to Reggie Middleton, saying, "We're sorry we screwed you up so badly and criminally and took you down. You invented something that could change the world and take out the banking system. You invented peer-to-peer transaction ability, which is huge. No more banks as a medium for like stocks and bonds and gold and silver sales. You don't need the COMEX if you use Veritasium or use the technology behind Veritasium. Now, whether the tokens will be worth anything, I don't know. I do not know. They are sitting in limbo. 98 million of the 100 million Veritasium tokens are in limbo. They were frozen, 3 or 4 years ago, and Reggie Middleton was taken out. Almost figuratively, but definitely literally. He's not allowed to transact in any cryptos right now. There is no other entity that got attacked as much as Reggie Middleton and Veritasium. And I blame the DOJ. I blame our government for doing that, and they were protecting their banking cabal. Their gang of merry men, and the crypto cabal as well. There is absolutely it's knee deep in the pedo side too. There is a crypto cabal. So anyway, we will find out. Stay tuned to roadtoroot.com. I'll be talking to Jenny Moonstone tomorrow. She's given us some great information about so many things. And we'll be talking about a little bit of everything. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the background. And she's very good at diving into that and helping Road to Ruta members find their way in this dark.